tonight on Paranormal.
So we just wrapped our 2-night investigation of the Hinsdale house. We're now on our way to Salamanca, New York, to the Wildwood Sanitarium for another 2-night investigation.
Basically, we know the house was most likely built in the mid-1800s, and they worked on it for 3 years before they opened up the Wildwood Sanitarium.
Anybody up here?
When it gets quiet here and here, could hear footsteps or knocking or who knows what kind of noises, talking.
Would you want to communicate with us tonight?
And literally something or someone had to have picked that mirror up and then dropped.
Did you hear
I did.
I would be like sitting on the first floor and I hear a conversation going on up here and laughing and coughing.
that? Does it feel like it's getting colder in here?
I had a guy one time that came in and started ghost hunting, and then all of a sudden he started acting kind of weird, and all of a sudden he had like a mental breakdown.
Researching Wildwood Sanitarium was very difficult considering there wasn't a lot of resources online about the location.
We really had to delve into newspaper archives and property deeds, but a lot of that material is only available at the Cattaraugus County Clerk's office.
And at this time, our historical research is still ongoing.
Completed in 1900, the Wildwood Sanitarium was originally a private home. In 1903, it was purchased by a pair of physicians, Drs. Carroll Perry and John Henderson, practicing in the new field of osteopathic medicine and treating patients with addiction and other non-infectious diseases. When the tuberculosis epidemic swept the nation, the facility was adapted to treat and isolate patients with the disease. Although no deaths have been confirmed, the house has no doubt seen its share of tragedy over the years. The building was later converted into apartments and remained periodically occupied until it was purchased in 2017 by Lori Wagatha, who began to restore the home in hopes of returning it to a healing center. Upon starting renovations, however, she and others began experiencing strange phenomena. The sounds of footsteps and voices coming from empty rooms. Strange shadows moving throughout the building. Doors swinging open and shut by themselves, and other peculiarities. Today, the building remains under restoration. However, Lori has come to welcome paranormal researchers interested in the property. Been a little while since we've done any kind of clinic or hospital.
True.
Nice to switch it up a little bit.
It's got a great history. I'm excited.
I think the entire city of Salamanca is actually on a Seneca Indian reservation.
Yeah,
So we are definitely working on native lands tonight.
it's very cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Look at this place.
Oh, shit.
I guess we better go in and see who's going to meet us.
Sounds good.
So how long have you owned the property for now?
5 years. It was 5 years in July. Basically, we know the house was most likely built in the mid-1800s. When I went down to the county building, they had it written down as 1900,
Gotcha.
but the house had gas lighting, and we're finding rectangular and square nails. The square nails even date it back farther, so we're thinking like mid-1800s. The doctors are Dr. John Henderson. He's on the right side.
Okay.
And and Dr. Carol Perry's on the left side. They bought the building in 1903, and they worked on it for 3 years before they opened up the Wildwood Sanitarium. In 1923, it was forced by the town of Salamanca to open up as a tuberculosis clinic. So it was that for a while too. I think the building sat vacant more than once. It's been owned by several different families over time. It's been apartments. At one time it was 3 apartments, 1 on each floor. So yeah, it's been a lot of different energies through here. This room here, I don't know if you saw the episode of Paranormal Lockdown. This is the mirror that broke.
All right. You still have it. That's cool.
Oh yeah, I couldn't throw that away.
Now, was this was here when the show came to film?
Yeah, it was hanging up on that same screw up there.
Okay.
This one's hanging up on. It had been hanging up on the wall for months. Never budged. Until Nick asked me out on the porch. He said if I could answer any question for you, what would it be? I said, I want to know why the house compelled me to buy it. And right after I said that, we heard the big loud crash. And we came running in here, and it was laying in the middle of the floor. And we looked it all over. I mean, Nick looked it all over too, and the wire wasn't broken. You know, it wasn't the frame. And literally something or someone had to have picked that mirror up and then dropped it. You can see the head on that screw itself.
There's like a lip, so it would have to go up to come down.
Right.
Any other activity associated with this room?
We think this was actually a viewing room at one time, which would make sense if they had TB patients here and stuff too. This is the room that just a couple days ago I saw a shadow figure right here by the entranceway of the hallway here. It was short, probably about this tall. I don't know if it was a girl or a boy, but they had longer hair, and they came in this room.
Okay.
So, interesting. Yeah. I can't say any one room is more active than the other because it's kind of the whole place is active. Okay, this room. This room we call Tommy's room. Because our first bunch of groups that came and still get the name Tommy all the time. A couple summers ago, a lady approached me and she said there was a Tommy that lived here, and she said she went to elementary school with him. This wooden cane here, we actually found up in a sealed up room on the 3rd floor.
Ooh, okay.
And it's really short.
It is.
So it was either a very short person or a kid. This room doesn't have a light. I saw a tall shadow figure in this room, and it went from that side of the room over to this side and then opened up this door. He was really tall.
You say he, it looked like a male to you?
Yeah, it kind of looked like he had a hat on.
Okay.
So, skinny too. Yeah, probably as tall as that door.
Wow.
It was tall. But it was kind of weird, like it started out taller and then got shorter as it headed this way.
Okay.
The door opened up. This room, we call the seance room. We do an occasional seance. And in this room, they like old ghost hunting stuff like pendulums, dowsing rods, scrying mirrors, a lot of that kind of stuff they like in this room for some reason. And I also mentioned too that why the lab coat is sitting here is there's a group called UNI Research. They come here quite often. They've been coming here for probably, it's been over 4 years now. One of their group members had took his own life. This was his favorite location to come to. This was his favorite room. And before he would investigate, he would put a lab coat on.
Okay.
So that's why the lab coat is there. He's still here. So if you get out your equipment and you get the name Jeremy, that's him. This is an actual picture of him. This is part of one of our reasons why we're doing our event September 10th for the prevention of suicide, is kind of in memory of him.
That's nice.
When it gets quiet here and here, could hear footsteps or knocking or who knows what kind of noises, talking. I would be like sitting on the first floor and I hear a conversation going on up here and laughing and whistling and coughing and yeah, it's crazy. And we even get activity in the hallways. We were talking about skeptics earlier. I had a woman and a guy came, and the guy came in the door and he's just like, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's like, I don't believe in any of this stuff.
Yeah.
My wife made me come. I'm her ride. I'm like, well, do whatever, relax while we're investigating. And he was sitting on a bed by that doorway there.
Okay.
And I put some ghost hunting equipment out here in the hallway and shut the door. And all of a sudden he comes up to me, he's like, this stuff is going off in the hallway. I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, open up the door and see what's going on. So he opened up the door and he saw a shadow figure right here, standing here.
About where you are?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Then he closed the door back up and he's like, there's a man standing in the hallway. That's what he said.
That's cool.
And then I'm like, well, open up the door and see if he's still there. So he opened up the door and he's like, no, he's peeking around the corner.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I think we kind of made a believer out of that guy. It always feels heavy up here. I think when it was the tuberculosis clinic, I think the more ill patients were up here on the third floor. A lot of people get sick up here, or dizzy up here, just can't tolerate it. And there's a couple of grumpy old guys that hang out up here too. They'll tell you to get out.
Okay.
All right.
They do a lot. We made this kind of into a doctor room.
I love your decor in here. This is very cool. This is very cool.
I was trying to do a doctor's room, and I actually went to Ohio to buy this because I wanted one from that time era, and I actually found one. So it's cool to find there. And then this goes around to the kitchen,
Okay.
and then this goes down to the basement. When they bought the house in 1903, they were waiting for the previous tenants to move out.
Okay.
I don't know who that was. And they said the most renovations they were going to do were to the basement because they were making a bathhouse down here. So they were going to have cold baths, hot baths, and electric battery baths. And then I read an article and it said that they would turn the electric up just enough to make your muscles twitch. So yeah, there could have been several different kinds of tubs down here. A group had sent me, I'll show you this video. This is that doorway right there.
All right.
You'll see an apparition go across right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then a shorter one will go by. Right there, and then you see an
Okay.
arm coming out this way.
Yeah, I saw something there. What's the prevailing feeling in the home for you? Is it one of comfort?
Yeah, comfort, and I don't know even how to explain it. I have a lot of people that come here too that get healing messages here and stuff. Like I had a lady that she's like, oh my God, she's like, that's my best friend that died in a car accident. It's different than a lot of other locations because it's got something else going on. It's just not haunted or whatever. There's something going on here. I had a guy one time that came in and started ghost hunting, and then all of a sudden he started acting kind of weird, and all of a sudden he had like a mental breakdown.
Oh my God. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you
this.
very,
This is
very much.
incredible.
Like with you guys coming back tomorrow, just take the key.
That's fine.
Drive safe.
Always do. After Lori and Dale handed over the keys to us, we started to bring in and set up all of our equipment to monitor the building.
We are hooking up the DVR for our night vision cameras. Those are our stationary static cams.
So right now I'm just setting up a CCTV camera in one of the downstairs rooms where the mirror fell off the wall and shattered during the filming of the Paranormal Lockdown reality show. Guess they've also seen some shadow figures in this room, so hopefully something does happen. We'll be able to get it on film.
Thermal, is that one too?
After taking our initial set of baseline readings, we decided to conduct a sweep of the location with one of our thermal imaging cameras. Right. So we're in the room with the embalming table in it.
this corner first.
Coming into the room with the therapy tub in it. And she said they used to use this space for, among other things, electric battery baths. Look at that, that's a child.
That's crazy.
Looks like a forced hot air heating system. Not on tonight, but we know these things can make all kinds of noises. You can get animals running through the duct sometimes. So, obviously this is the room with the mirror in it that fell off the wall and shattered during the filming of the television show Paranormal Lockdown with Nick Groff. Now, Lori said that that screw that it's hanging on is the same screw that this mirror was hanging on.
Yeah.
And it's got a little bit of a lip to it here. So if this were to just fall without the wire breaking, it would have to come up and over that lip.
Yeah. Without foul play.
Yeah. Now the string it was hanging on isn't here anymore.
We've got that piece.
This chunk has got some good, it's got some good weight to it. I don't know. Cool that they kept it though.
Yeah.
You know what they say though, broken mirrors, 7 years of bad luck.
That's right.
This is one of the spots where they say they saw a really tall shadow figure. She said it was like as tall as this door. There's some cold there on the wall.
Yeah.
Up
on the
by the
ceiling.
ceiling.
Almost all the way over, actually.
It could be
Yeah.
moisture damage in the, because it
Yeah.
kind of lines up with where there's fresh spackle by the looks of
Yeah.
it. And we definitely know, like they said, they've had bad leaks. One thing to keep in mind is obviously there's a lot of little nooks and crannies and corners and lots of chances like this just for light play to create moving shadows. Heading into the seance room. Apparently there's a lot of audio stuff reported in this area. She said like laughing and coughing. Definitely sounds like it could be something residual.
Yeah.
Smells in here.
It does stink.
It kind of makes me a little nauseous.
Yeah.
It smells like a sewer line.
And like musty water.
That could also be something that makes people, sort of gives them
Feel
the impression
sick.
of something supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Things like sewer gas and molds are potentially dangerous to people's health long term, but can also cause physiological disturbances within people, such as rapid heart rate, nausea, headaches that could be mistaken for a paranormal experience. Yeah, you want to get out of this room?
Yeah, I
It
do.
smells.
It kind of is like hurting my head. Now here is where she said that someone had seen a shadow figure at the top of the stairs, shut the door, told her and I guess whoever he was with, reopened the door, and it was like peeking around the corner, this shadow figure.
Now, obviously, we don't know what lighting conditions were like exactly.
True.
If you have a flashlight here, I get the banister to cast a shadow on that back wall. And if you pull your light up, the shadow, of course, moves down. And that kind of looks like something peeking around that corner. See that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
kind of lines up with the area she was talking about. I can tell it. I mean, it doesn't look like a person. It's a straight line.
That definitely makes it interesting
Yeah.
sound.
Sort of sticky, creaky. I mean, if someone were to walk on this floor, you would definitely know it.
Oh, yeah.
On the second day of our investigation, we conducted another round of interviews with Lori and her husband. That night, our plan was to really play devil's advocate to the claims of activity and attempt to make contact with any spirits or presence that might be in the location. 10:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Nick and Miranda, and we are sitting in the viewing room with the broken mirror on the first floor. What do you think about this mirror, Miranda?
It's definitely heavy and on a hook that keeps it relatively secure. Unless there is some type of tampering or, I don't know, I don't think even if it was being, like if someone fell into the wall or whatever, I don't think it would really come down with the nail that they, or the screw that they have in.
Yeah.
It's definitely strange. I mean, Lori did say there's a few grumpy old men, but pretty sure she said they were on the third level, not down here. Doesn't mean they can't come down here, though.
Yeah.
You know, could be someone being cranky, either wanting attention or not wanting attention.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
Good evening. If there is anybody here, my name is Nick Smith-Koblitz. This is my friend Miranda.
Hi.
We traveled a very long way to visit Wildwood and see this place. How many people are in this house tonight?
Are there any doctors in the house? Do any of you know what happened to the mirror on the wall during the event that we were talking about before?
Were you the one that knocked the mirror off the wall? Were you trying to get somebody's attention? Because if you were, it certainly worked.
I know Lori says that you like having people to talk to.
There's a truck going by outside. Yeah, we definitely heard a couple trucks last night too, right out on the main road here. And we know that, especially with the pneumatic brake system, sometimes heavy trucks can produce infrasound.
Yeah, very true, yeah.
It's definitely something to consider, just given our proximity to such a busy road. Infrasound are extremely low-frequency sound waves, 20 hertz and lower. Individuals subjected to infrasound will sometimes report paranoia, disorientation, and even hallucinations that could all be mistaken for something supernatural.
If there is anybody in this room with us right now, do you think that you could either move something or touch one of us? There are a few devices on the floor, none of which, if you don't recognize them, are going to harm you. If you go near it, it will pick up your energy, and then it just will move the little dial and let us know that you're here and you're near it. If you could do something like that, or knock on a wall just to let us know as confirmation that you're here, that would be greatly appreciated. If you were a patient here, what did you think of the type of therapies that you received?
Just hear scratching.
did it sound like it was coming from?
Right there.
No?
Hello? Anybody in here with us right now? You don't hear that? Sounds like paper shuffling. It sounds like right there to me.
No, I mean, I hear the crickets outside. If anything, I hear like a low buzzing, like humming sound. But it sounds electrical. Haven't heard scratching or rustling. Still hear it now?
Not right now. It was once, and then it was quiet, and then I just heard it again. And there's what look like some plastic or paper flowers over there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand up for a second. There's no need to be alarmed. Nick moving. Like this?
Is that what it sounded like to you?
Almost like what it sounded like to me.
No, I did not hear that.
Okay, this is recording in the doctor's exam room on the 3rd floor. Hello again. It's Nick and Miranda. Are there any doctors or members of the staff here? That is a car outside.
Was it scary being here when you had the epidemic happen and started bringing people in with TB? I'm sure that would have made me a little bit, or more than a little bit uncomfortable. What do you guys think of the condition of the house and how Lori and Dale are fixing up the place?
Can you tell us anything about the history of this house? Lori's unsure of exactly when this place was built. Do you know what year this house was built? Was this your home? I don't know about you, Miranda. I don't really get any kind of creepy vibes up here. It is totally quiet.
Yeah, it does feel very, very. Someone whistling outside?
Yeah, it's heard, or like squealing brakes, squeaky.
Oh yeah, you can clearly tell it's from outside.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like.
I haven't heard anything in here.
No.
No pops, no clicks, no taps. One 27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nick and Miranda, and we are sitting in the seance room, placing this recorder on the table. Mark, all cameras and audio.
Hello again. This is Nick and Miranda, as I'm sure you will know by now. We figured that this room may be a little bit easier of a conduit to have a conversation, considering people come and have seances here all the time. I know Lori was telling us about Jeremy, who would come in here and have seances and wear this med coat. So Jeremy, if you're here right now with us, maybe you can assist or reach out to us since you understand what it's like, what we do. Would you want to communicate with us tonight?
Like yourself, Jeremy, my colleague Miranda and I are paranormal investigators. We came to Wildwood because we're interested in the history and the people that lived here, and to study the activity that Lori says happened here. We understand that you were very interested in the history and the activity here. I'll be honest with you, man, I've been doing this job a long time, and I don't really know if I believe in ghosts anymore. The longer I do this, the more skeptical and cynical I get. And if you are here and you are able to give us some kind of sign of your presence, I would really appreciate it. Jeremy, do you recognize any of the equipment that we have? We've brought some EMF meters, some thermometers, Geiger counter. There are cameras throughout the house. We've got an audio recorder right here on the table. Do you think you might be able to say something into our recorder for us?
Is it difficult for you to make contact? Not for nothing when it comes to Jeremy. I know that when Laura was saying that a lot of the times his mom will contact her first, so maybe he's not here all the time, but he comes when he knows that she's having a rough time or thinking about him, and then this is a guaranteed way that he can reach out to her.
It seems like, from what she was saying on the tour too, that there's a number of presences which have been experienced or encountered or felt by people here that aren't necessarily connected to this place,
Yeah.
but to the people having the experience.
I find that very interesting. I don't feel like that's very common in places that we've been to. I feel like if anything, that would be more portal-like,
I agree.
you know.
Lori did say that there might be some children here. I saw you have a microscope in your bedroom. I'm really interested in science, technology. All the stuff that we have with us are different scientific tools that might be able to help us see and hear you. Do you think you might be able to walk up to one of the devices in this room? Or if you're uncomfortable being around us, maybe one of our devices in another room? One of the things with the red lights? Could you walk up to one, please? Would you be able to tell us your birthday? Today is actually my birthday, and I'd really like to meet you. That would make it like the best day ever for me. Yeah.
Sounded like upstairs.
Hello? Hello? Is there somebody upstairs?
I did.
Who's upstairs? Dr. Perry? Dr. Henderson? Is that you? I assume that was an animal, but let's go. I'm taking EMF. We immediately grabbed some equipment and then headed upstairs to see if we could figure out what had caused the noises that we had heard. Hello? Hello? Anybody up here?
Would have been there, I think.
Does it feel cold in here to you?
It's a little chilly. Yeah, I just feel.
I don't see any animals.
No?
Hello?
Wait.
What?
I just heard like a tss from in here.
Hello? Anybody up here?
Did you like us being on the top floor better?
I think if there was anything up here, I don't think it's up here anymore. Or it's playing hide and seek with us.
Hmm.
Still feels cold.
It does feel chilly.
It feels freezing. That was a little weird. Circumstance was kind of strange. And it is cold. Does it feel like it's getting colder in here?
I mean,
It feels...
actually, yeah, I feel like a little bit of air, like cold air flow.
I am cold. I don't know. I mean, this spot is cool. You felt that.
Yeah, I did feel an actual change on the stairs.
Yeah. And this spot is exactly where they said there's a shadow figure. It's cold here.
Yeah, that is
feel
right
like
next to the door. Isn't that that's the side door, the back door?
Yeah.
Does it feel cooler down there?
Here. Right here.
Yeah, this feels cold.
Hold on. We gotta do an experiment. This is Nick coming back. $70 perfectly. 69.9. 69.8. 69.7. Stable at 69.7. 69.8. 69.7. 69.9. It's definitely colder in here. I mean, this is a cold spot, but I don't know if it's a cold spot.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No pun intended. So we're just about to begin evidence review for Wildwood Sanitarium. We had some pretty interesting experiences there during our last couple hours while we were on site. So I'm really excited to jump in and see if we got anything on video or audio that might explain or account for our experiences there.
The condition of the building really does kind of set people up for having experiences. There's a lot of creaks and cracks and ambient noise and light, so it's really sort of like a playground for things to happen and get perceived as maybe being paranormal.
Especially when you're running around with a flashlight in the dark.
During evidence review, we did find that we did catch some of the auditory sounds that Nick and I heard.
So right now I'm taking a look at the locked off cameras and the audio during the time Miranda and I heard the strange noises in the seance room on the second night of the investigation. Yeah.
Sound like upstairs.
Hello? Hello? Right there. That's it. That's the first noise. Yeah, 3 times, and then right there, I even kind of talk over it. You know, the weird thing about listening to this, it doesn't sound the way I remember it. I remember hearing like kind of a scuffling noise and then something like rolling, almost like a mouse or a squirrel like rolling an acorn or something. My first impression was an animal, but this is like loud knocking sounds. Miranda's already reviewed the DVRs, and she said that we didn't get anything from any of our cameras, either on that floor or up on the 3rd floor during the time of the incident.
As for my opinion of what those sounds were, I can't really say that they sounded like an animal. I'm very familiar with animal sounds, and it didn't really sound like animal noises or anything like that. I can't necessarily say that it was paranormal because we don't have any proof to back that up.
This spot is cool.
Yeah, I did feel an actual change on the stairs.
The incident on the 2nd night when Miranda and I started feeling cold sensations in the stairwell was likely due to the fact that that night we had the doorway to the stairwell open because we had a locked off camera there, and this was probably creating some extra airflow that accounted for that experience. Lori and Dale were absolutely lovely. They gave us a great tour, and they were just really accommodating and great about letting us come in to do some research. At this time, I don't think we have enough information to say one way or the other whether Wildwood Sanitarium is haunted. We did find some compelling natural explanations for a lot of the reports there. But CPI's standard practice is always to conduct 3 on-site field investigations before we make a definitive conclusion one way or the other. So we'll definitely be going back to Wildwood at some point to continue our research there.
Being a paranormal investigator, there's definitely a lot of obstacles and challenges that you run into. You're not getting a lot of sleep. You're usually driving onto locations, and they can be however far away. And there's a lot of different elements that go into it with the data and the evidence review and things like that.
And you're spending a lot of time in places with some pretty dark histories and people who genuinely need help.
So it can be quite challenging.
Being a paranormal investigator is not a job that you pick. It is a career that finds you. You don't always find what you'd hope for or expect on these investigations, but that's any field of research.
There's a lot of us out there that have questions about what ghosts are. My hopes for the future is that we're able to kind of get a baseline down, maybe some type of environmental factors that can corroborate personal experiences. I think that would be a quite pivotal move for the field.